Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an exciting and everything amazing Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one and only Master Propaganda, off here to glorious 1v1 here on Taranto Coastline. Yeah, we're back on it, still building up my replay archive after the whole, replays didn't work very well at all thing there, but still, got a lot of stuff there lined up, and I'll be adding into my replay archives here over the next coming days, and there's also the Master League hitting the weekend, so forward to a lot more excitement here. Anyways, we're off here to a 1v1 on Taranto. In the southwest stands Prabuty, fighting here for the German army, Deutschland, the 3rd Panzergrenadier with combined arms in the northeast. It is DexN, fighting for the British Empire, the Commonwealth, straight to Indian artillery here, fighting for the 41st Infantry Division here, tasked with holding the line as the Germans are trying to break the back here of the Allied advance towards Rome. Got a double sapper section start here for DexN versus Prabuty's Krautschützen Panzergrenadier start here, looking for a motorized opening here versus those Englischer Inselaffen. Sappers busy here, and they're heading northwards with the sappers there.
An infantry
section ready. South here, bike moving towards the southern field point. Sappers moving to counter that, perhaps. Or at least may end up countering it inadvertently. As always, a big hearty thanks to my Patreon supporters for the continued and generous patronage of the Propagandacast, allowing me to keep making all these wonderful and delightful videos. It's a big thanks to all those from me and from Basil, the kitty cat. But we've got a bit of skirmishing here. Sappers with a Mark II Sten guns versus the bike here with its machine and give out. North here, Panzers grabbing the munitions point in. Further north, DexN rapidly advances for king and country. Grabbing the center here again, just not really a lot. There's just this bit of, back and forth here between DexN and Prabuty here by the southern field point. Like, DexN trying to grab the field point, Prabuty's trying to stop him. Both, of course, are trying to avoid losing the units. Second section ready here. Krautschützen, of course, can rapidly self-repair. Bit of mobility has there, sharing it with the Jeep. And the Weasel has the self-repair also sort of automatically there. The Allied Infantry is the only one without a light vehicle with any kind of self-repair. Well, that and the Brits with a Dinger action when I think about it. Section here is the Panzergrenadier. Bit of bolt action rifle here. Kar-90 cases of the Enfield Mark IV. More section arriving here, flanking up behind the Panzergrenadier here as their position is rapidly becoming a bit compromised here in the face of the all-British advance. Seizing the southern victory point here, we got 490 versus 500. Vickers here for DexN, bring in some machine guns here to hold those Germans' heads to the dirt. Sappers, they're taking a lot of losses here for the king and country in the face of the German Panzergrenadier, who are certainly doing their part for Das Vaterland, routing the sappers there with a well-aimed bolt action rifle shot. DexN will also fire up north here, hitting Prabuty's field point there. Bike hauling off after grab the southern field point here. And we got the Vickers ready there for DexN. North here, sappers of the Panzer Pioneer. Got Prabuty there, routing them well and easily here. Bike going straight for the section here, Panzer flanking up behind. Vickers there being hauled forward here by DexN and his merry band of misfits. And we got the Valor there, picked up. Panzers there almost being wiped out here by the Vickers. Firing off there quite a few well-placed shots here. Section need to retreat before Prabuty scores a wipe here, would certainly put a bit of a damper here on DexN's early game if he were to suffer a wipe already against the Germans. Never mind, Church will probably make a bit of fun of him. Oh, you lost someone within the first 5 minutes.
We are losing territory.
Anyways, straight up here, German forces advancing steadily there. You got the field infirmary up here for DexN, providing a bit of well-needed healing for his men. A nice bit of tea and some biscuits. How about some bandages and morphine? You can have tea and biscuits, nothing else. Oh. Panzer moving forwards, we got here the light support company there for Prabuty and the German army. 3rd Panzergrenadier Division, 6th Panzergrenadier Company.
We're losing a capture point to enemy action.
Got the Panzer being met here by the Vickers machine gun once more. Section as the Panzers then moving up behind the flank here of the Vickers. Gonna think it forced DexN to withdraw. Unless he can bring in a lot of force here to convince Prabuty to reposition those Panzer Grenadiers fast enough. And it clearly looks like Prabuty is not quite going to do that. Seems quite convinced he can get DexN machine gun off the point, but there you go. Second wave here of troops in, the sappers with the Sten guns forcing a Prabuty and then to withdraw from the center. The battle absolutely going pear-shaped for him. Anti-tank robs out for DexN, clear concern about Prabuty heading with fast armored cars, at which point you typically want some anti-tank robs to ensure you don't get completely rolled over and sent to Tipperary in a box. There you go, mechanized company here for Prabuty. We're finding from the north side here, cartridges and sappers all there. We got mines as well here for Prabuty on DexN fuel point. A cheeky move there. Meanwhile for DexN, we got Gurkhas ready, or Gurkhas. And we got the platoon command post up here. Stuart light tanks, spicy. Do love myself some Stuart light tanks. So that is very delightful to see. Sappers rushing northwards here. Back, someone's got the northern field point here. DexN farms a bit in the defensive against the all-out assaults here from Prabuty. Though, Prabuty is starting to give in like some pretty wounded German infantrymen. Like, just look at this war, like, only one man is like above 50 health. The rest are like, you know, below that point.
He's dead.
I feel like at this point, it'd almost be smarter here for Prabuty just withdraw the men, get the ambulance out and heal up all these gentlemen before they just, you know, get murdered, because this is going to be like fairly expensive, like sudden have to reinforce anyways. So, definitely felt like a bit of a pointless charge there by Prabuty here versus DexN. Anyways, over to Prabuty. We got the secure location ability here. Got the Octocard out there. Very much as expected, but he really needs an ambulance right now. He's got so many men here that's like, you know, below, you know, the 50% health threshold, in some cases like, you know, less than that. So, I'd say there's a dire need here for Prabuty to get out the ambulance here. Of course, could be he's planning here to go for a Panzer group or mechanized assault group here and use the 2/5 chapter for filling that way. That, of course, also works here. But whatever the case, these gentlemen need to be healed up. To send them into the combat right now would be, quite frankly, utterly reckless by Prabuty. Al-Qad meanwhile hitting DexN and the British Army. Using northern points, Al-Qad Marine got mines earlier from DexN. Thumbs up. In fact, we got a lot of mines from DexN. Very smart play there by DexN. Anti-tank rifles, of course, solid counter to the Al-Qad, and as of course the section is slow in health, the only thing that's holding them together is the promise of more tea and biscuits. So there you go, in fact there's a good chance here Prabuty could score white between Dex. We've got the other tank on the section up, there we go, good shots on the Al-Qad, but I am not entirely sure what this being enough to convince Prabuty to not pursue and finish off. It is indeed just nearly enough. Fresh wave of troops now here for Prabuty's base. Men mostly healed up, except for the ones he forgot to reinforce, I guess. I think he realised he needs to get them reinforced a bit, or he's going to start fixing up the Al-Qad with them. Panzerjägers here in a bit of a spot of hot water here, with the Vickers machine gun quickly suppressing the entire lot. Victor points wise, Prabuty continues to exert a good lead here over DexN. Meanwhile, we got the Stuart light tank out here, the M3 Stuart, also known as the Honey Stuart by the British because they really liked it. Fun fact. Rolling forward here with the M3 Stuart light tank, equipped with a 37mm gun. Ambulance there for Prabuty, very good. Starting to wonder when we'd see that one arrive. Stuart pushing forward here for DexN now. South pumping right with the tank on the section of the Vickers. Stuart rushing northwards. If he can catch that Stuart off guard with it, he could score a pretty good kill here on Prabuty. Going for the back instead, shot completely whiffs here. We got the Tank Commander Edition. Very good there. Gives marked target and also boosts troops nearby in the Stuart. So that's overall a very good upgrade to have. Not that survival package is bad either, but doesn't quite offer the same level, shall we say, just utility. And certainly if you're only going for like one Stuart, you typically want like the tank command. If you're going for multiple Stuarts, though, you're probably looking to like commit to survival package to make them a bit more able to operate independently. So there you go, Prabuty's men being forced back here by DexN's lightly armoured counterattack here. The infantry Stuart rushing forwards. After that, then engaging the Stuart, Stuart returns fire, but instead just keeps hitting the German infantry. Back to DexN. A mine going off here, looks like that was a wipe on the Panzer Pioneer. An excellent wipe here there for DexN on Prabuty. Remember, the Panzer Pioneers definitely makes things tough here for Prabuty in terms of repairing his vehicles there, so that is a very good kill there. In particular, since a lot of DAK players are significantly less keen on replacing the Panzer Pioneers because, you know, they can just use Panzer Grenadiers and Panzerjägers and all that to, like, repair instead, so... But at the same time, that means they can end up tying up a lot of their frontline forces just repairing tanks and vehicles then, so... It's one of those, like, you know... Getting rid of a Pioneer squad can actually be very beneficial for you. After that, pushing forward to punch there with the MG34's Embreda Modello 30 light machine guns here. No good cut by the way here from DexN is worth noting. Who, in my experience, tend to be some incredibly good elite infantry. So certainly noteworthy here that DexN is not bothering with them. Could be he's got other plans here, of course. Back at base for DexN. Not much that's transpiring. We do have the training center up here, and of course getting some upgrades for his troops would be certainly very good. Still being slowly pushed back here as Prabuty and the German army prepares itself for another push on the southern victory point. And what is this? We got mortar half-tracks for Prabuty. We got a Marder as well here for Prabuty. All interesting choices. You don't see too much the mortar half-track here, but it's certainly not bad. Not bad at all. There's a nice addition here from Prabuty versus DexN. Thumbs up to that. Panzerjäger straight to mine there, losing Ludwig in the process, his feet blown off. Ach mein Gott, not his feet! Why did he care about his feet? Cancer fit. Nine? I mean, look at it. He's got no feet. What is he going to do after the war? Oh, yeah, sad. Just find some weird people really tend to get focused on the feet. Going northwards there, we got the volunteer infantry ability there. Very powerful upgrade. Sappers was the outcard. That is as one-sided engagement as they get, short of Sappers versus a Tiger tank. Like push back here with the Vickers. And in DexN's base, we do get the company command post going up here, pulling for something a bit heavier here. Could also be another reason he didn't go for Gurkhas. He might be planning to actually go for foot guards here versus Prabuty. And so doesn't really be spending, you know, manpower and elite infantry that doesn't have bazookas. Straight advance here for the south. Once more Prabuty against DexN position. Anti-tank up as well here for DexN. Good punch there on the Mont de Fee. Forcing that one to quick withdraw here in the face of DexN's forces. Company command post almost done. And we'll have to go for first, but he doesn't have the fuel for anything. He could withdraw the Stuart to say rush out maybe on the Crusader 2 or maybe even the Matilda 2. Some players do make pretty aggressive use of the withdraw and refit ability. But very well be that DexN is one of them. Or maybe he's not. As for Prabuty, we do also get the Panzer Army Commando up there, so both players pushing for the late game already now. And there we go, foot guards for DexN and the British Empire. Panzer they routed by the Vickers. Most of the fighting, by the way, is heavily focused on the south side here. Typically, as always, as I like to point out, you want to focus more on the north side of Taranto. Like, you obviously shouldn't neglect the south entirely, but I feel like you should never neglect the north. And the north generally should, I feel like, be a major priority compared to the south side of the map here. So it's certainly noteworthy in that sense that both players are kind of getting sucked into the south, leaving the north, I mean, on both sides, quite undefended. Like right now, a good push from either side for the north into the other's rear there could, I think, be very powerful. There you go, we do have the foot guns out here for DexN, equipped with the bazookas and the Thompsons with drum magazines. Panzergun moving forwards. 6-pounder gun going in very aggressively here. I suspect DexN is probably looking to take out that mortar half-tank before it causes him too much grief. Mortar attack time to slowly fall back here.
Training complete.
You know, the Germans did actually have a mortar attack based off the 251 half-track as well. For once, they actually have that one in the files. They actually used it in the single-player campaign too, for the Italian one, so hope we kind of get that 251 mortar attack as well one day. Anyways, foot guards here continue pursuit here. Panzers opening up. They're catching the foot guards out. Nervous to it, supporting the entire push here. DexN got here. Prabuty a bit by the throat, by the jugular, holding him back in towards his base, pressuring, almost taking out his mortar half-track. Akhtar there getting shot at as well here. Really aggressive pin here by DexN. If this works out, it could win in the match, but if he overcommits or Prabuty, like, you know, makes a really good counter move, it could leave DexN dangerously exposed and like vulnerable to like really good counter punch. We got the Panzerfehler now on the way for Prabuty and the German army. The Panzerkampfwagen 3 Ausführung L stood holding back here. Good getting points. Mixing up that 250 half track here. Steady there. Northern points being seized. Almost got the Lakers there. Bit of a sugar found the art guard. It's tearing off 1/3 of its health total here. Another third they're gone, but now the vengeance of Prabuty and the German army is ready. We got the Panzerkampfwagen 3 Ausführung L. Ready to support a counter push here for the 3rd Panzergrenadier shown here against DexN. His sections is doing now being caught here in the full wrath of the Deutsches Panzerwaffe here, forcing DexN to rapidly withdraw here to more defensible position. He's attempt to withdraw, but not really a lot of defensive position really long to. Not a lot of cover left, in fact, for DexN. Sections they're pushing forwards up north here. We got the sappers creeping about. We got more mines here for DexN, by the way. Lots of mines here. 2 thumbs up. Oh, that mine did not immediately get set off here by the mortar, actually, interestingly enough. There you go. Panzerfleet to the tank hunter sections there. Almost getting a wipe here. Panzerfleet being further pushed back. And again, we sort of see like there's not really a lot of focus on the north side of the map. It's very much contrary to this, like, just small southern field here. More foot guards here. Foot guards for Prabuty's DexN. More foot guards here for DexN and the British army here versus Prabuty. Panzer being hammered out in the open here. We got the Akhtards, mortar half-track Panther providing covering fire there against Prabuty's advancing, or DexN's advancing forces. Mortifying the Vickers here. 346 with 359. Points are taken down here on both sides. Much closer than they used to be. Much closer now. Almost got the Marder free there as well. Can DexN finish off here? Prabuty's Marder. That would certainly be a big kill here. I mean, there's also the Akhtar, which honestly would also be pretty good here if DexN could finish off here. No, I don't think we're seeing any like marked targets either from his light tank on any of Prabuty's vehicles or tanks. Close to 52 understood. Prabuty being further and further forced off the map here by DexN's fairly aggressive tactics. I think at this point Prabuty will need to, I think, reconsider his tactics a bit. We've got strafing rounds here chosen on top of the Summer-Venter, leaving just without the patch of steel here or the artillery cover ability. Both certainly having their merit. Nice and sending mortar around here, but too late there. Point has already been seized by the British Empire. Foot guards being about, and I do believe we are. Yeah, 2 foot guards here for DexN, and plus I believe that looks to be a veterans one that's been researched as well. Or, you know, the training center upgrade there. Only making DexN's foot guards and other infantry units a bit better. And even more mines. I mean, 2 thumbs for DexN. That's some impressive mining. Another push forward to the Panzerjäger, straight to the anti-tank and the steward, the foot guards here. Marty holding back, Panther-free, Akhtar going straight here. Prabuty basically being forced into committing in this like heavily damaged Panther-3 here versus DexN, as DexN just continues to threaten Prabuty's remaining territories. But he might have gone a bit too far, and Prabuty could perhaps deliver a bit more sound counterblow here. Maybe not. He can soon go for another Panther-3. Of course, with everything here DexN has, he could also consider Stuckatzer Fuss. Foot Guards advancing at 2 full squads here versus Prabuty, Bazooka Fire here on the Artrat, pushing him down to half health, in fact, less than that. DexN keeps up the assault. The Foot Guards are just an absolute dynamo of British violence here against the Germans, cutting their way here through the German lines and vehicles. Foot Guards almost wiped out here, though. Storming forwards, there you go, a few more hits. Still no marked target here, though, from DexN. Could be he's not interested, perhaps he's not aware, it's hard to say here, but he's definitely not using marked target from what I can tell. But yeah, marked target, pretty good, increase the damage done to, like, you know, the vehicle, and makes it easy for targets to penetrate them as well. So it's a really good ability to have, like, at the right time. I do feel like that one gets a bit overlooked, but you know.
Light vehicles are receiving training.
Off-map burst barrages, we got grenades, we got light vehicle training for the Stuart. Interesting choice there. Seemingly only going for that upgrade because the Stuart is he planning more Stuarts here versus Prabuty? That would be interesting. That said, if he isn't planning, like, you know, more, you know, light vehicles than that Stuart, I'm not entirely sure the light vehicle upgrade, light vehicle training upgrade will be worth it. I'm better off just going for the armor vehicle training in preparation for armor. East Vickers here, by the way. Good. They work with it so far. Prabuty finally getting a new move up north here. You can see there suddenly all of DexN's northern territories are slowly falling into the hands of the German Reich here. Meanwhile, another fierce engagement over the southern fields. Much blood and much lead is being spilled over this stretch of terrain here. Got 2nd Panzer already here, though, for Prabuty and the German army. Mines exploding here, and the Artrat hits one mine. Oh dear, could he almost hit another mine? It looks like Prabuty is able to navigate his Artrat away from the remaining mines. Meanwhile, though, DexN sensing blood sensors to a light tank here, racing force for the Commonwealth here. Almost got the Artrat, we got the Marder though. Going for it, there we go, got it. Marking actually the Marder as well, very good, thumbs up, bit late to the party on that ability, but almost got the Marder there as well. Brutally engaged in the south here, big push by Prabuty right into the Vickers. Meanwhile up north here, sapling forwards, Foot Guards riding a full Panzergrenadier squad here. Things are getting fairly hectic here, mortifying that Vickers here, mortar half-tech veterans, one slow approaching 82. Almost got it. There's a good chance of wiping out. Yes, DexN's ace Vickers machine crew has very much been sent off to the great tea parlor in the sky. What kind of tea do you have up here? Microwaved. No, this is hell. Yes. Fooled you. Anyway, Sam observes the Panzer 3. Foot Guards swinging in the side. So hits here. Could try and go for the staggered shot ability, which is quite frankly really good. Of course, he might decide it's not worth it here. Yeah, Prabuty's down to be a lot more of an armored force here versus DexN, who's currently lacking any tanks. He's going for more anti-tank guns, which of course backing up the 2 Foot Guards. Does mean DexN has like a serious amount of anti-tank firepower.
Anti-tank weapon and
of course,
on the field.
a serious amount of mustache power. Oh dear, Prabuty. Oh, it's almost looks like he's just like march everything through DexN's minefield in the center. That would have been kind of amusing. But there you go. Straight to the Foot Guards of the Panzer 3. Heavy damage inflicted on the Panzerkampfwagen 3. Almost knocking out here. Marching off here. Countless of Prabuty's men there getting maimed and dismembered here as they rush into the minefield by the southeastern victory point here. The push here is quickly being halted by DexN. Panzer there being forced back here. Foot Guards continue to haul their asses back towards the base. No sign of any armor yet here for Mr. DexN as of yet. Could it be Crusaders? Could it be Matildas? Could it be Grants? They all are very much viable options here. Spotted the mortar half-take here. Got 347 on 90 now. DexN's the one with a significant victory point lead over his opponent. So far, it is only growing. More mines here from DexN. I mean, very consistent mining from DexN. I mean, there's definitely some players I feel like you're moving from country to country, kind of forgotten mines exist, and DexN is definitely like a guy who's got like his eyes on the mines. He's really like just laying down a lot. He's really impressed with something worth, you know, keeping an eye on here. Baker's moving to the south as the Prabuty pushes forward once more. And in comparison, Prabuty I think hasn't really mined at all. And we got here what looks to be Utility for DexN. Over to Prabuty, who's going for, well, more Panzer IIIs. Not much of a surprise. I mean, he could try and hold out for something bigger. Admittedly, fairly risky, particularly with a few victory points left. But theoretically, he could, like, consider maybe, like, holding out for something like double Stugs or even trying for a Tiger tank. Further north here, Panzers the Foot Guards. Vechi 2 there, routing the Panzer Grenadiers with contemptuous ease. We got the first Matilda 2 tank out here for DexN and the British Empire. 6-pound guns ring through the Panzer III here, sections routed. Got the emergency repair kits here for the Panzer III. We got Matilda running forward here, a mighty land ship. Crossing through hostile waters. Dirt. Panzer Kampfline striking the foot guards out in the open here, ripping through them. Leaving the foot guards in an anything but great position there. 6-pounder guns, foot guards, Matilda all advancing here. Prabuty though with a significant armoured force. I mean, 3 Panzer IIIs backed up by Armada 3 is certainly nothing to scoff at. And could possibly, like, you know, really cripple here DexN's Matilda if not straight take it out. The shot bounce from Marta. Very lucky shots there. For DexN, that is, not for Prabuty. But there you go. Matilda 2 getting hammered here. Shells just punching through the armor. Smoke being deployed here to try and cover a tactical retreat out of the reach of the German Reich. Panzer III's there, steaming head north here, catching DexN sappers on the northeastern victory point. Right as they're busy laying down mines. Force them off here, inch enough. The flamethrower has not been seized at all here. Seems to be in a bit of an interesting oversight. Southern victory point grab. You got 182 versus 260. DexN still maintaining lead in terms of victory points, but Prabuty is slowly starting to catch up to him.
Victory point under enemy control.
Straight to mine here, damaging the engine here of one of Prabuty's Panzerkampfwagen 3s. Excellent there, of course, for DexN. His mine continues to pay off significant dividends. That's Matilda called in here, though, by DexN. Oh dear, and it is the Overwatch ability there, what it was called, Sector Artillery. I can't remember what the one's called here. Check out DexN. Perimeter Monitor. Kinda nuts. In this case, didn't wipe any of Prabuty's forces, but certainly close to wipe there. And we got another Matilda 2 here, though, for DexN and the British Empire. And the phase here now being assailed. We got anti-tank guns, we got foot guards, we got a storm of armor-piercing shells and high-explosive shells being exchanged across the fields like insults at a football match. Just, you know, with less violence involved. Foot guards pushing forwards here. Panzer gun, the edge almost being wiped out. It looks like they narrowly avoid the wrath of DexN. At least, foot guards riding the Panzer gun, the rushing forwards here. DexN leads the way forwards to the Matilda 2, and he's starting to extend more presence to north here, with Prabuty now diverting most of his main force to deal with DexN's forces in the south. So this is pretty good for DexN. He could grab the northern victory point here, the fuel point, both deny Prabuty a lot of fuel, but also get a triple cap going again and start bleeding up Prabuty a lot there. So this is a really good move here by DexN, even though he's, like, you know, fighting some fairly intense tank battles in the south. 2 thumbs up to DexN on that one. Prabuty, I feel like, needs to, like, change up his axis of attacks here. I mean, he's relying too much on the Panzer IIIs as if they're the Panzer Vs, aka the Panther. Which I feel like definitely plays to the strength of the Matildas, and not to the strength of the Panzer IIIs. He doesn't even have tungsten core ammunition, which I do think is something to consider as these Matildas, but otherwise, the overall should really look to, like, flank and outmaneuver. Of course, with the anti-tank guns, another thing that might be worth considering here for Prabuty would actually be the Stückhauser Fuss. And not just because I really like the rocket strike animation, I think it's absolutely bloody amazing, but, you know, it could also be a good way of dealing with these 6-pounder guns, while he's forcing DexN to be slightly more careful. There's, of course, also the strafing run here, but meanwhile up north here, DexN's continued push here is just not stopped here by Prabuty so far, that we can see the Panther Fleet's finally being pushed up there. And a strafing run here, though, from Prabuty. Feel like the angle makes it a bit too easy for DexN to pop out. Plus, the timing also means, again, like, he needs to focus on it, get it out there. I feel like this should have been safe for, like, an engagement of slightly more importance. So that way, he, like, you know, doesn't just have, like, worry about dealing with the strafing run, but by, you know, other units under Prabuty's command. Back to DexN and the Commonwealth. 257 is on F33 here. DexN continues his victory point lead here versus Prabuty for now, but there you go. Matilda's on. Trouble 1 is practically leaking. Burning fuel there. Smoke being deployed in a thick screen here to cover the retreat of both stricken beasts. Like lumbering manatees caught out on land.
Victory point lost. The enemy has control.
Got the Panther Fleet striking away there for the fatherland. Foot Guards now being caught in a bit of crossfire between the two Panzerkampfwagons. And DexN's left with the only choice of withdrawing the Foot Guards. Before they become Footless Guards. North here, the other Foot Guards got into the Panzerkampfwagen 3. As Prabuty looks to further hammer and punish DexN and the Commonwealth. Back here, nothing further going on. Pun's going into the section here by the southern field point. Hasn't seized the field point here or the victory point back. So if DexN were to grab this victory point now, you could get that triple cap going here against Prabuty and possibly do it really fast. Something to keep in mind as a possibility. As it's just like a large armored fleet here being built up. Not much there otherwise for Prabuty or for DexN. So for DexN, I mean, one option would be just churning out more Matildas. I mean, all those Panzer Fleets were stuck with even more Matildas. Another option would probably, what I'd go for is go for the grants. Start, like, you know, using those grants to back up the Matildas. Just right, the DexN with the more significant firepower against Prabuty's armored infantry. That's something to consider as well. You could also just go for Crusaders, but there's definitely, I think, quite a few paths here that DexN could seek to exploit versus Prabuty. Prabuty here going for a attempted wipe here on the Foot Guards, rushing in all his Panther Fleets here to strike at the isolated Foot Guard squad here. Going for tactical superiority. Almost succeeds that as well here. And now, in fact, it's Prabuty's man to secure a triple cap on DexN. Rapidly turn the tables here on the British player. Even though both Matildas have been repaired, they are once more fit to rejoin the fight against those bloody Germans. Even the 6-pounder gun here gets a great shot on the Panther Fleet there, forcing it to withdraw. Fighting here with Panther Grenadiers, with them Vix machine guns there, holding off the British. About to get wiped out by the two Matilda 2s. Got the Matilda, the Marder Fiend engaging the Matilda 2. Foot Guards reclaim the northern victory point here. 209 to 106 here. DexN still has the lead over Prabuty, but it is slowly vanishing. Like ice cream left out on the kitchen tabletop for a bit too long. And the cat's been eyeing it hungrily. Panther Fleet rushing north of this train to the Foot Guards here. 200 versus 106 here. Prabuty definitely looking to keep that, close the gap between the two as soon as possible and grow in his favour in the south. The Matilda's advancing straight into the Marder Fleet here. Actually, two now. Panzergunners rushing forwards here, supporting the Marder Fleet here. Panzerjägers, easy targets. Sabers caught laying down mines here by Prabuty's Panzerwaffe. The men in the 3rd Panzergrenadier Shown are willing to take this to the bitter end. Panther Fleet got the 6-pounder guns though, opening up here on the Panther Fleets. This is where strafing run would have been helpful for Prabuty. There's all these entertainers now. Big explosions, big grenades. Matilda's just firing off their 2-pounder guns as they steadily advance forwards here. Straight into the Marder Fleet here. Good shot there. Panzer's flanking in from the south. I mean, right now, I think the smart move we take to try and flank around from the north of the Panther Fleets, getting behind Matilda's, shooting through the rear armor, which is significantly easier for the Panther Fleets to penetrate than the frontal armor. Seems like he is not too keen on that. Not too keen at all. Any research for that? Yes, he does have the armored field training there. Thumbs up to DexN. Got a lot of resources. I imagine here that DexN is not entirely sure then how to really tackle all of Prabuty's like armor. His Panther Thieves backed up with the Marder and the infantry here. I would say it's a fair concern. He's bringing a Vickers machine gun to help deal with some of the German troops. We are back to Prabuty.
Our forces are down to 200 points.
No sign of armed reserves here. Panther getting hammered here by British anti-tank gunfire. Foot guards that almost get buried. Then far up north here, machine gun hits a mine here from DexN. Again, very consistent mining from DexN. Very consistent. Bit of mortar fire here for the mortar after, which I would say has been a fairly decent here for Prabuty, actually. It's definitely not a unit you see too often currently from DAK players, but I do think it is one that, you know, has a good amount of merit in the right hands. And we got our 4th Panther Fleet here. Almost a full-strength Panther Fleet platoon now assembled here for Prabuty and the German army. Meanwhile, the Matilda's being fought, and the Marder Fleet is spotted here. Prabuty slips up, and the Marder Fleet is lit up. Punches the section here, Matilda's moving forwards, and there you go. Prabuty turns on the offensive switch here, strikes at the Marder, or the Matilda's here with the Panther Fleets here, looking for vengeance. Almost got one of them. They're probably better off focusing in part on the anti-tank guns, like get rid of those. That's on the, I think, the bigger threats as Panther Fleets in terms of like damage and chance of penetrating here. Almost got one of the Matildas there, incendiary fire, clearing out the anti-tank guns here. A devastating blow here to DexN. One Panther Fleet though blows up, the ammunition cooked off like fireworks left out in the sun for too long. What is with people leaving stuff out in the sun? Anyways, Panther 3's here, gun for the Matilda 2. It is 3 tanks versus 1. 2 early water signs against each other. Who will persevere? Who will be victorious? And the Matilda goes down, leaving Prabuty with 3 Panther 3's versus now a bunch of sappers desperately praying they get back for tea and biscuits. A devastating blow here, and it really, I think, sees just DexN in a very bad place. He's going for more Matildas now. 6 Panther guns being hauled off here by Prabuty. More shots fired here, and we got what looks to be artillery called in by DexN versus Prabuty. Biggest here ripping to the advancing foot guns, including the ace level 1. Good golly. No grenade here. I was actually expecting a gammon bomb there from DexN. I guess he might have had other priorities on his mind here. Need to retreat those foot guards though before the Panther Fleets turn them into paste. We're not talking a nice kind of paste, we're talking Marmite paste. Almost got the foot guards there. 6 Panther gun out here for DexN. Got the Matilda 2 being repaired here. All of Prabuty's tanks lying dire need repairs. And by dire, I do mean dire.
By the enemy.
So now Prabuty definitely has the advantage of the DexN, except in terms of victory points, but he just really tore out a huge chunk there of like just DexN. Got the Matilda ring forwards here. Panther Fleets still being repaired. He's relying on the auto repair for that. 60 versus 171. Matilda just having at it. We got a Panther Fleet flanking in there. Do we actually have the tungsten rounds for Prabuty? We still do not have tungsten rounds. We don't even have Beagle's Survival Package, which always tend to be a very popular addition as well. For a lot of DAK players, the smoke course being good, but also the extra health. Sappers routed as Prabuty's Armored Fist continues to seek out targets. In the south, though, DexN is not yet ready to be intimidated here by Prabuty and swiftly advances. More foot guards for DexN now. Guess he lost the previous section. Of course, not the aces here, and not these champions. All things British. Quick grenade off here. North Panther Fleet swinging into the flank here of DexN's forces, perhaps. Nope, doesn't go for a deeper flank here. Fortunate, I'd say, there for DexN. That could have possibly been another move here where Prabuty could have possibly like crashed DexN and like just swung in through here. I think that would have been GG. But fortunately for DexN, Prabuty did not quite feel the need for Blitzkrieg. And speed here against DexN. Matilda keeps at it. Looking to slow down the German advance here. 6-pounder guns backing up the Panther fleets against DexN's British tanks. We got 50 versus 158 here. Back to DexN. Fighting is getting pretty intense here. Prabuty launched himself once more forward against DexN and the 41st Infantry Division. His men struggling to break the stranglehold here of the Commonwealth. Matilda, though, is seeing more and more health slip away there. And far up north here, we got foot guards defending northern point here from the building. Bazooka shots flying out the windows at the Panzerkampfwagen 3. Panzerguns being rushed in now into the waiting and open arms here of the foot guards with their Thompsons. That definitely seems like a bit of a mistake there by Prabuty. And one which I imagine DexN is more than thankful for. Foot guards of the Panzer got mortar firing down death. I didn't get a kill on their own, actually. Oh, apparently no friendly fire on that one. But now the ace foot guards here might be about to earn themselves some Victoria Crosses if they're not careful against those Panzer IIIs. Attila being repaired. We got 148 versus 40.
The enemy has claimed a sector.
Further up north here, Panther straight into the foot guards here. Prabuty once hit that point, and we got a straight from the south here. Straight into the section, but ends up not doing too much damage there, fortunately for DexN's infantry section. Matilda almost fixed up. And we got more 6-pounder guns here for DexN. Try and count all these Panther fleas here. Panzerjägers pushing forwards here. We got 133 versus 40. While at the match here, we got the Panzerjägers sent careening across the southern fields here. Another push for northern point here. Prabuty just trying to get that triple cap going on DexN again to just try and see if he can't pressure DexN enough into make some more serious mistakes here. But now we got a big push here. Foot guards, 6-pounder guns, Panther fleas, or Martin Matilda's going in for the Panther fleas. Foot guards though are being absolutely demolished. Their assault thwarted here beneath a tide of lead and high explosives. And the 6-pounder gun crew there also expires. Prabuty is merciless here. As DexN frantically tries to inflict some amount of damage here to Prabuty. Panther fleet rushing in. That's another Matilda left burning here. She might have been Queen of the Desert, but in the hills of Italy, she's nothing but target practice. So right now, DexN is once more in a very precarious position. Victory points are bleeding out between his fingers. He's lost all of his tanks. His opponent still maintains a sizable armored fleet, though it is fairly damaged. There's still the mortar half-track, ceased anti-tank guns, and still a decent amount of infantry as well here for Prabuty. So looking like fairly rough going here for DexN. Not impossible, in part because he does have these foot guards, and they should not be taken lightly. That might be a bit risky for Prabuty, actually rushing his ace-level Panther 3 here. Run to the 6-pounder gun here. Yeah, this feels like Prabuty might be getting a bit desperate here versus DexN. This could work out for DexN. Yes, we do get an incendiary mortar around here on the 6-pounder gun. Oh, almost had the other Panther 3. I think he's trying to salvage it, but he probably isn't done. Sabbath's wiped out. 6-pounder gun wiped out. Oh, dear. Almost had the Panther 3 there. Good God. Got the Panther 3. 31 versus 40 up north here, fighting for the northern point here. Foot guards versus the Panzergun here. Ace level versus ace level. 25 points left for DexN. And he got the northern point. 20 points left, but he's got a bit more time. But will it be enough here for DexN to salvage this? 17 versus 40. He could rush for the other victory point with the northern foot guards. That is probably his best bet right now versus Prabuty. And he may also, I guess, just try and push out some Crusaders or something. Panther fleet being pushed back. More Panther Fees for Prabuty. The rest of his men are also pretty haggard, but he still has that one Panther Fee left. Crazy match here so far. Crazy now going for the opponent. We got 7 points left. 6. 5. Got the northern point there. He stopped the victory point countdown. We're back to Prabuty. Rushing in here to the foot guards, the machine gun. A desperate assault here by Prabuty, realizing he might have underestimated DexN at the worst time possible. 35 versus 5. 33. Now the Panther V ready here for Prabuty, but will it be enough against DexN? And his steel will. Mine's still going off somewhere. Oh, I think it's the one mine that Prabuty actually laid down there. The one mine he went laid down at the start of the game went off right as the match is about to close out. Rushing for the point here. But DexN's foot guards stand their ground. Stiff upper lip and then some. We got 8 points left. We got 5 points left. 2 points left. And GG here right before in case the sounds pop out there. So, game over here. An absolute banger of a match here between DexN and Prabuty, down to the wire with absolutely intense action here. 2 thumbs up to both players and an absolutely top-notch match here between 2 top-notch players. So I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I enjoyed casting. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment. You can also support the Propagandacast by donating on Pledge on Patreon. Links in the description. This is Imperial Cheers, and see you all tomorrow for a nice, exciting, and a riveting episode. Bye, everyone.